right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park. We're kicking off our Signature Bank AM 560 business tour this morning. So stop on by. We just had a jogger stop by.
Yeah. You know what the jogging is, right? Have you ever participated in running?
I only run if I'm being chased or I have a ball in my hand, as you know.
But that was nice. Stop on by. We're at the Signature Bank again in Edison Park near at Devon and what is that, Northwest? And Harlem, excuse me. Know where you are.
Yeah, you're very familiar with the city.
No, my dad grew up here. He went to Ebinger Elementary School and then on to Lane Tech. But, yeah, we're from Edison Park. My people.
All
know,
right.
back when we were maids.
Well, taking your calls, who's you voting for? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. And we're also getting closing arguments from candidates all week into this week, into today, Election Day. And also, call us if you have any fun stories from your polling place.
Like maybe it's not open or the line's too long, which I doubt.
Or they ran out of cash.
Right. Or they ran out of ballots. Anything that you see that's off, 312-642-5600.
One guy who hasn't run out of cash and had a nice date night last night with a competitor is Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson, candidate for mayor, businessman. And Paul Vallis took in a Bulls game on Election Eve.
Yeah.
Sort of a nice moment between the two candidates. I think two of the outsider candidates that anybody with an outsider perspective who doesn't want more of the same in 2019 can appreciate. And for more on that and to get his closing argument, we're pleased to be joined by Dr. Willie Wilson.
Hey, how y'all doing? Amy, Dan, how y'all doing this morning?
Willie, how are you? How was the Bulls game last night with Paul?
Well, it was real good. It was real good. We had a chance to chat and talk about different things, how we plan on running the city,
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it's better than watching the Bulls play basketball, that's for sure. So it's a nice, quiet venue for you guys to have a chat about public policy. So give us your closing argument as people are heading to the polls this morning and till 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, I think we're gonna do very well. I think it's going to be a upset in terms of how the election is won and how some of the people project the polling. I think it'll be real surprised. I think we've been to 7-7 community in Chicago, and we get a lot of good positive comments. I like the idea that we was able to cover all 7-7 community. And we was able to talk to Democrat, Republican, you name them. We talked to all people because we just believe that Chicago is supposed to be together, not separate, and it shouldn't be. It should be about not paying the taxes and things of that nature. And we just believe in it. The tactic got us all in a mess, and we come together as a team. We need to figure out how we. And work out with police, fire, school teacher, pension. And that's what, and violence, of course, that's what's on people's mind, and that's what's always been on my mind. That's why I got out and ran.
Now, we know that you're successful and a savvy businessman, but do you have a plan to reduce the budget deficit in the city of Chicago and to pay the unpaid pensions?
Yes, we definitely have. It won't be easy, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done just like we've done in my business. I mean, I say one day we woke up and Lawrence is saying we was able to get out of $72 million debt market change, and it took us about 2 or 3 years to come out of that. But we worked it and we did it with our own money. It wasn't taxpayers' dollars, And
Right.
so one of the things that I was trying to claim last week, before last at least, on Channel 11, how do you fix the budget? A lot of it mismanagement, of course, but outside of just the airport, marijuana and casino, you got to deal with the detention and weight budget. $10 billion budget, $7 billion is in payroll. About $2 billion of those are in overtime. So you got 40% and 42% of other cities, that their payroll budget, and we run about 70% or 75% of payroll budget. And you cannot survive that way. As a result of that, that raised high taxes and things of that nature. And then these contracts that you bid out, 75% of contracts like City Chicago go to people who donate to the politician campaign. And so those contracts don't get bidded out. And if you bid them out fairly equally, other people will be lower price and will get a fair market in terms of price-wise for the taxpayers of the city of Chicago. I also put a proposal out there was that just to kind of get rid of the corruption was that any business that donate to a mayor or alderman campaign, they can't do business with the city of Chicago until that person turns it up with.
So, Willie, one of the things
that's what you have to do with corruption.
Yeah,
I'm not here for real, but
Willie, one of the things I like about your candidacy is that you're the only candidate that really focuses the press corps, the sort of the politicized, half asleep electorate. That's all the focus is on the city budget, on public sector workers, and you're the only candidate that's really said, essentially, what about the budgets of middle-income families and lower-income families in Chicago? What about the people that aren't on the gravy train? What about the people that are just getting bills in the mail and not the benefits because they're not connected to the alderman or the idiot cousin of a daily? I want you to speak to that because I was referencing a little bit earlier in the show before you came on this BEZ story about how middle-income families have disappeared from Chicago or are disappearing quickly, what's happened over the last 35 years. So we have the very wealthy and the poor, lower income, and not much in between, and that's no way to sustain a city to not have a robust middle-income segment.
Right. Well, my philosophy is not helping from the top up, but helping from the bottom up. And if you help from the bottom up, that means everybody rises to the top, And so that's what I mean by when you bid out the contract, you got people.
But forget about bidding out the contracts for a second. Talk to me about people who aren't an appendage of city government, whether as a vendor or an employee. Talk to me about those people who exist outside of Cook County, the federal government, the city of Chicago, and CPS, because there's millions of people in this city that are outside of those units of government. And, who is the candidate for them, and what is your message for those individuals?
Well, my message for those is that they're after tonight, the mail thing, they're going to have help. Look, what people do is this here, is that they push the middle class down to needed and lower. You got to create jobs and contracts. If we shouldn't be creating billions and billions of dollars into the wealthy, that's okay in terms of jobs. But look, you got to take and focus if you're gonna put $8 billion in O'Hare, put $2 or $3 billion down here in terms of helping the poor and the needed. Create jobs, contracts. Give grants to make sure people and able to learn a trade. You got to work with these unions in terms of getting calls down, creating trade for the needed. Because even if they gave the needed $2 or $3 billion a year just to these 8 communities, they wouldn't be able to do them because they ain't got the trade. So we got to work together with that, make that happen. We got to move the middle class, lower class up back up to the middle class, things of that nature. I'm saying create jobs, like contracts, things of that nature. If you lower taxes, then you attract business in Chicago. You attract international business in Chicago.
What taxes would you lower? What taxes would you lower?
Well, you got to lower pretty much all those taxes by bringing in international business and other business from other states. See, because right now, Indiana is beating out Chicago, Tennessee, tax centers all beating out Chicago because they get tax break and create more jobs, you create more dollars overall. Because when you raise taxes, you pass on down to the consumers. That's what they end up doing. So we have to be able to get a hold of it and do this. This is not hard. If the service station, you got two service stations. One across the street, gasoline sells for $4. The other one sells for $3.50. What gas station you going to go into?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you take that the same you do in Indiana and Illinois, and you have to deal with it that way because people are hurt, people losing their home and things of that nature. That's unfair. So we got to focus on the needy, the homeless, back up and get people to the middle class, back up there and let them stay up there and move up higher. But that you got to create it that way. Otherwise,
Right.
we're running people out of Chicago and we're going nowhere.
Dr. Wilson, we haven't spoken to you since the alleged Jussie Smollett hoax. What are your feelings on that? But also, Superintendent Eddie Johnson, I thought he's represented the city very well. Would you still keep him as police superintendent if you were elected?
Anybody who deal with Ron Emanuel, no, I'd say no, because the fact of it is that you bring in people who feel and think a certain way. You cannot be a puppet to a politician. You have to make sure you represent your community, not a certain select people. And I think that Eddie Johnson has done just that. There's one thing about the Smollett situation. That was just one instance. But all those other incidents, things of that nature, look, you cannot be a puppet to Ron Emanuel or nobody, not even myself. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to serve the community. We got good.
Yeah. Go back to. I just want to go back and ask you another finance question. What about the prospect of bankruptcy for the city of Chicago? I mean, you got upwards of $40 billion in unfunded pension and health care benefits before you get to the unpaid bills and the other sort of pressing day-to-day matters, although I would say those are pressing day-to-day matters. What about, you're a businessman. Bankruptcy can be a cleansing process, a way to reorganize and grow again, the way, frankly, Detroit did. So what about that prospect for Chicago?
Look, I don't like bankruptcy and taking that option there. I think with mismanagement is a problem. I think we got to get everybody involved, Democratic, Republican, and other, the citizens of Chicago involved. We understand how to fix the problem more together than separate. All right? Look, I would show the leadership that it takes to get it taken care of. All right? Most leadership that is in office today pretty much greed help themselves and help their particular people that give it them the money. All right? I'm not that way. I put in my own money. I'm not looking for nothing but stuff, but only to help the citizens. All right? Mm-hmm. So unless you straighten out that and you put investigation every 3 months to audit your particular department in City Hall to keep the crooks out and those who are in office now, you won't solve it. I'm just being real practical about the whole thing. You can't have people up at top in government crook and not even investigating them when you take in and investigate people who do misdemeanor and nonviolent and don't investigate white-collar crime.
All right. Willie, we got to run, but I appreciate it. Businessman Willie Wilson, the website, williewilsonformayor.com. He's on the ballot in Chicago today. Willie Wilson, mayoral candidate. Willie, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.